And we're back. Thanks for joining us on the Coruscant Nights podcast. We are very, very happy to have you here today. My name is Cooper, and alongside me, as always, over on the far end is Mark.
Hello there.
And in the middle today is Jack.
Good morning, everyone.
How are we doing this evening? No, not this evening. No, this morning, guys. How are we doing?
Morning,
Yeah.
I'm doing all right, but we've just come out of watching The Last Jedi, so...
Yeah, we all decided that today for the podcast we would all get together, watch it, say some opinions throughout it, and then hop straight into the recording. So hopefully it's all fresh in our minds and we're all ready to go.
We are fresh off of watching The Last Jedi. This is the one everyone's been waiting for. The arguments are going to get heated today because there are two very, very differing opinions on this movie, and we'll get into that very shortly.
Yes, indeed.
Just quickly, thanks to our patrons for supporting us, Ben and Nikita. We always appreciate your support. If you want to go support us, check the link in our Instagram bio. That would be greatly appreciated. TikTok as well. We're on TikTok. Keep uploading weekly. Also, thanks to those who tuned in and watched our Ahsoka trailer reaction. We had a fun time recording it, and we're glad that you guys enjoyed watching it as well.
Go have a look on YouTube.
Yeah, go check it out on YouTube. So, what am I missing?
So last week, we actually forgot to do our rating for The Force Awakens.
I'll take responsibility. That was my fault.
No, it's all good.
No,
so quickly, Cooper's going to go over what rankings we actually gave it, which might surprise you considering how it was kind of portrayed through our podcast. So go on, Cooper.
All right. So, Jack, you're first listed. You gave it a 5.8, which I think is very harsh.
You think that's harsh?
Mark, you gave it a 5.2, which I think is abysmal. And I gave it an 8.9.
Oh, is that abysmal, Jack?
That's abysmal.
No.
That is ridiculously high for a rehash of
my quick summary for why I gave it 5.2 is simply because I wanted to give it a passing grade of at least 50%. Because I think it was passable. But we don't need to go over it again. But, check last week's podcast if you want to know why.
100%.
Do you want to give your rating?
No, it's more just same old. It's like, well, it's just updated visuals and graphics of A New Hope. In my opinion, it's the same plot with characters I don't like as much. So can't really give it higher than it.
I thought it was a really good reintroduction to the world. I thought it introduced some really good new characters and continued the legacy and the story of some characters that we're really familiar with in a familiar plot that also felt quite rebranded and new. So, and I feel like we get that more in this movie as well. So that's where our scores are at for The Force Awakens. Now, because we're going with a different structure this week, we're not going to get it out of the way. We're going to do who has more screen time and our scene change first. And then we'll get into the actual debate because I think that's where the heart of the episode is. All right. So this feels really weird to be saying first at the start, but it's time for Who Has More Screen Time? Let me go back to my page. There's some good ones in this one. Quite a lot that'll be tricky. Now, update the scores. Jack's on 5, Mark's on 4. So
the best option for me is a draw, and I have to win the next two.
The next two, yeah. Wait,
no, hang on.
He's on 1. He's on 3 then.
No, you won last week.
Yeah,
I did.
Jack won last week.
Yeah. I got like almost perfect.
Oh yeah, you did. My bad. Sorry. So it's 6 to 4. 6 to 4.
Yeah.
My bad. Oh my goodness.
What?
All right.
6 to 4. Have there been that many movies already?
Okay. Guys, who has more screen time? Finn or Luke Skywalker? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Luke.
All right. Finn has 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Luke, 21 minutes, 15.
That's cool.
One each. All right. Who has more screen time? Poe Dameron or Rose Tico? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Rose.
Poe, 12 minutes, 15. Rose, 13 minutes. Damn.
I wish you got more than Poe. Oh.
I almost said Poe. I was close.
Who has more screen time? Supreme Leader Snoke or Admiral Holdo? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Holdo.
Snoke 4 minutes 45. Holdo 5 minutes 30.
Let's go.
It's already over.
Who has more screen time? General Hux or BB-8? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
BB-8.
General Hux 4 minutes 30. BB-8 4 minutes 45.
Oh.
Jack.
15 seconds.
Jack
Okay.
is 4.
Jack's already won the
Holy
whole
damn.
Uh-huh.
All right. Who has more screen time? C3PO or Yoda? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
C3PO.
C3PO, 2 minutes 30. Yoda, 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm on
Yes.
fire.
Have you given got one wrong?
Came to
Have you?
play. Who has more screen time? Chewbacca or I don't know, I think it's Commander or Admiral, Darcy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Darcy.
Chewie 2 minutes, Darcy 1 minute 45.
I should have went the safe option
That's that the safe option.
because he's a much bigger character than that commander.
Who has more screen time? Paige Tico or Captain Phasma?
Wait, who?
That page
Paige
just picked
Tico.
up when it started.
Ah, or Captain Phasma.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Phasma.
Page 1 minute 30. Phasma 1 minute 45.
That's cool. Only just so.
Yeah. All right. Who has more screen time? Mars Kanata or R2D2?
Ooh,
5,
I can't even remember.
4, 3, 2, 1.
R2.
Mars 45 seconds. R2D2 1 minute.
Let's go. I only got one wrong, I
You
think.
did.
Was that the-
Jack
oh, the
wins
last one.
7 to 5. Jack, you are the
He's the
winner
ultimate
of.
champion.
That's it. We'll still play next week.
But we have next week. So.
Still strong.
Good game.
I did have a tiebreaker, but we don't need to do that anymore.
Alrighty. Oh man, I'm hyped.
Tiebreaker
Oh wait,
would
we
be
got
One more thing.
we
One
got
more thing.
we got the scene change. Damn it.
Or should we leave that to last?
No, it's actually it's relevant to
It is. Okay.
the movie still anyway.
Do you guys have anything you want to talk about in particular for?
I don't have a specific one.
No.
Well, the whole movie would be a good
Yeah.
scene change.
That was
Oh,
one.
gee.
The whole movie, or just completely re-altering what they did with Luke.
100%. I think mine's gonna be the same as Cooper's, but Cooper had said it first, so I will branch off Cooper's one.
All right.
So go for it.
Mine was to have Finn die.
Yeah.
I don't see the need. He doesn't
Yeah,
have served a
that's true.
purpose in episode 9, so why keep him around?
Sacrifice.
Guess I didn't
Yeah.
know what was gonna happen in 9 either.
I noted that
That's
doing
one
it
of the
would
things.
mean a satisfying and meaningful end to the character. The journey he's gone through in the last week or 2 weeks, and the stuff he's learned to not be selfish. He's learned to be
And you would have
fight the
sacrificed
resistance.
for a good cause.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Like I said, he had no use in Rise of Skywalker, and I thought it would have been good as Rey and Poe's push to keep fighting. That they've lost their friend, that's why they keep fighting. That's their reason.
Yeah, to add to that, Rose Tico basically doomed the entire resistance before they knew Luke was going to show up, meaning that she literally did it for some weird friendship love thing. It was so random, not
That was,
necessary.
very
Waste.
awkward and hard to watch.
Yeah, waste of a scene. And also, how did they not survive? How did they not pass away when they were when he was carrying
Yeah.
Rose back in the middle of a
And
a
not
fight?
even that. How did they not die when they smashed into each other?
Oh, it's appalling. It's so bad. Anyway, okay, that's the scene change. Yep. Okay.
Mark, you
Yeah, I've already said I would completely change Luke
Uh-huh.
or completely change the whole movie.
Yep, exactly.
Basically the same thing.
all right. It's time. So no structure this week. We're just going to pick out points of the movie that are of some significance, and we're going to debate. I don't know how
The
if
movie.
it's good, if it's bad. Do you guys want to start anywhere in particular? This is not. We didn't plan this.
I'm gonna go for an overall. I think one one main reason a lot of people don't like this one, and this is also my reason too, is the plot is so basic and so boring.
Okay, I'm glad you started that.
We watched it today, and I was trying so hard to get
bored.
so hard to get through it. It was literally just them running out of fuel, and somehow the First Order could not just catch them or like put on some boosters and just shoot their entire ships down. It was lazy writing, a waste of time, and hyperspeed travel shouldn't have even been a thing. Like
So,
hyperspeed
see, that's
tracking.
where I disagree. I think hyperspace travel was
Tracking.
tracking. Yeah, sorry, was an interesting inclusion and cool. It was alluded to in Rogue One. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah.
Well, they probably did that
On
because of
Gareth.
this.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying they did that. It might have been just a convenience, but I think overall, I think it was pretty interesting inclusion. It added higher stakes. It was visually interesting as well, and we saw it progress into Rise of Skywalker as well in a more micro scale, with light speed skipping. I don't really love the idea of that. I think just seeing it tracking, but I don't know, the whole idea of it being in small ships, big ships, yes, that makes sense because you can track a big ship.
It's just appalling. It's
But it's no.
like, no, okay, we all know that Star Wars films don't have that much detail in their plot, but this is ridiculous. This is like the most filler movie in between, not branching on anything that happened in the first one, and then as we know with 9, J.J. Abrams just contradicted this whole movie. In other words, so it's just
I love what you said there about how we had that opportunity, because as we said last week, the end of Force Awakens was such a good opportunity for a setup for this movie. As we said last week many times, but they just completely failed.
And also, continuing on the plot, from where the Resistance are at the start, being on the run from the First Order and the Dreadnoughts and everything, to the end, they don't change. If anything, they've lost more numbers. And I know you're probably going to say, oh, it's good because they're feeling hopeless, and then the next movie they come back and all this stuff. But it's like, it's so boring. Like, I don't feel any hope in it. I don't feel any enjoyment after it. I'm just left feeling bland and wanting actually good Star Wars content.
Yeah. All right.
Simple.
Well, I wasn't going to play this card this early, but I'm going to.
Here we go.
You dog on the plot so much.
You're going to go to the basic plot of Anakin.
No. You dog on the plot so much.
Yeah.
You say constantly that, it's about the Resistance running out of fuel.
But
But it's not. And if you look at it closely, it is awfully similar to the story of The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. I was waiting. I had a feeling it was going to be about this.
Cooper told me he was going to bring this up. Jack wasn't aware.
I kind of am, though. I kind of knew it was going to be like, I think.
Not that I'm on this topic. Before we dive further, let me I took notes, and Cooper will probably agree with these because he was saying about how it's similar to Empire. So I just wanted to write the similarities that I found. The villains chasing the rebels. So from escaping Hoth in Empire and escaping Dakar in this film.
The evacuation of the base, yes.
Yeah. Rey's training mirrors Luke's training on Dagobah, except Luke's was just way better.
How?
Because
Yoda actually teaching him how to do
the only thing
Yoda
he did was lift rocks
on Luke's back. Luke swinging across the trees and lifting
things.
things.
Not training. That's just running around and building your endurance.
Luke trying to lift the X-wing.
Exactly, and teaching you that size matters not.
And there's
Ray did it with
the rocks at the end.
Oh wow! At the end for a little bit of rocks, one little thing. And also, her training consisted of her swinging a lightsaber like it weighed like 500 pounds or kilos, whatever you want to.
And reaching out in the Force. How much do you miss that?
Reaching out in the Force, doing what?
Feeling the balance,
feeling the Force, understanding what the Force.
When I mentioned Hoth, I feel like Hoth is a recurring parallel in this film because Crate is basically Hoth, but at the end of the film instead of the start.
I disagree.
Rey going into the cave is the same idea and concept of Luke going into the cave on Dagobah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we all agree, don't we, that the Empire cave scene is much better?
It is, but I still don't. I think this is done pretty well as well. I think it's a pretty. No. I think it's done well. I don't think the reveal is great, but I think it's done well.
And then that last one I saw was Luke's death mirroring Yoda's. Because he's the mentor in the film who trains the supposed new Jedi, and then he dies at the end.
See, I would say
I know that's revenge, but
I was gonna say I would say that's a different actual plot line to Empire. In The Last Jedi, you do have that mentor that dies, but that doesn't happen in Empire.
Yeah, it's revenge.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of Empire is in relation to this. The reason why Empire succeeded where this movie failed, and you cannot, it's subjective, yes, but the majority of the Star Wars community can universally say that Empire is a better movie than this. Yeah. And I'm sorry if you agree. So this is that's just putting that on the table now. Yeah. So next point, right? They said, and I watched a lot of videos, I read a lot of articles. When Last Jedi came out, they said, the reason why it's so good, the main reason that they kept saying was because it subverted expectations of fans. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, fair enough. Why? All right, they subverted it, right, but in a way that just disregarded previous films' connections to legacy characters, right, and the ideas of even Snoke and stuff. So I'm just going to go through about the many reasons why they subverted the expectations in this movie. Okay, at the start, at the end of Force Awakens, we have Luke getting Rey handing supposedly the lightsaber to Luke. Start of this film, he throws it away. Okay, disregarded that one. Subverted our expectations.
No issues with that.
Rey has these powers, right? When she's from a nobody. Let's just forget about Rise for a second because it didn't come out yet. Oh, they're just a bunch of filthy junk traders who sold you off for drinking money.
Yeah.
Oh my. A
lie.
lie now, but it could have been anything. It could have actually been true because Rian Johnson didn't have the kahunas to make an actual reason why she's so strong. And let me keep going because I've got a whole list of subverting expectations here.
Against... Okay, yeah, go.
Snoke. Oh, menacing figure. Oh, the new Palpatine, maybe.
I agree.
Oh, wonder what his history and his backstory is. Oh, never mind. He just dies
That was stupid
because he couldn't see Kylo Ren doing that. Apparently, even though he's so powerful
But
and all this.
technically, he was seeing it, but he saw the wrong person.
I know. And then next one. Ooh, Luke Skywalker. I wonder if he is a wise old Jedi master who's secluding himself because maybe some failure. Oh, that could be interesting. Oh wait, he just doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. He thinks a Jedi were all waste of time and everything. Subverted expectations.
What does he say? A honey religion? Or something?
Yeah, hokey religion. Oh,
that's hard, isn't it?
TIE fighter destroys the ship where Leia's on the command bit. Oh, she's in space. Oh yeah, she should die here and have a warrior's death. Oh wait, she somehow becomes Mary Poppins, subverts expectations on how the Force works.
Can I quickly say one other thing about that scene specifically? The thing gets blown up and every single person in the bridge gets sucked down to space. There's about 2 or 3 other moments throughout this film where something explodes and they're open to space, but they don't get sucked out.
Yeah, it happened at the start too. Anyway, so that subverted our expectations. Okay, Finn and Rose have to find this master codebreaker who's the only one that can be able to get onto Snoke's destroyer ship or whatever. Oh wait, they get locked up in a prison on that Canto Bite planet and then find a guy who can just do it anyway. What the coincidence of this? And it's like droids used to do this. Subverted expectations.
Yeah,
all right, next one. So Holdo, she has a secret amazing plan.
Yeah.
Oh wait, but we don't know it until the end. And anyway, by the end of it, she sacrifices herself, which wasn't initially part of the plan because they still shot the little ships.
And you can see on her face she realizes her plan sucked.
Yeah, literally.
They were all getting. What do you mean? They had no
they
shield.
Only found out because of
no, not that.
DJ over.
Not saying that.
Really.
I'm saying the fact that they all escaped on unshielded ships and got blown to smithereens.
Yeah, but they weren't supposed to. They weren't going to. That's the constant theme of the plan not working in this movie, and that's fine because plans don't always have to work. Plans don't always work. It's more real than it doesn't work.
Why didn't they just make the plan that they transferred all the fuel from the small ships into the big cruiser that they were already on
and go down to Crate then in the end, and then they'll all be safe go down.
They probably weren't going to make it to Crate in the big ship.
As if they're already running that much. Oh come on, that's such a nitpick.
Well, the First Order couldn't follow them anyway. I was
going to say they were already out of range. Fuel. Yeah. So, and my last one, which was a subverting of expectations, was Luke, here we go. He's going to fight Kylo Ren. He's going to save the Resistance. Oh wait, he's force projected himself and then dies a pointless death.
Not pointless.
Pointless entirely.
I didn't like that.
Resistance.
Oh come on.
What Poe says.
Yeah, but it should have been Finn's sacrifice. And if Luke was actually there in person, it would have felt so much more momentous.
Okay, fine. Let's say Luke shows up. How on earth is he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
He wouldn't have had to just stand there and cop a bunch of blaster bolts. He could have at least.
But he didn't. He didn't stand there and cop a bunch.
I know, but if he was actually there, he could have just confronted them.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Tell me what he's gonna do.
He
would have showed up. He would have showed up.
Waited for them to storm in.
Yeah, or waiting for them to storm in, and they all retreat back. Or he goes out with the ships. Right? Or even he goes with the Millennium Falcon, he gets them to come back and pick him up. He goes in, drops in.
Or it could have been like in Revenge when Luke and Vader sense each other's presence. Mm-hmm. Luke and Kylo could have sensed each other, and Kylo could have been incensed by his rage.
Already to like 1v1.
That he went to follow to go in on his own to fight Luke, and it could have been like an awesome battle, and Luke trying to turn Kylo back to the good side.
Yep, or exactly.
We've seen that already.
That's what I'm saying. The subverting
we've seen that already in Star Wars.
Empire,
Force Awakens is a copy of New Hope.
Exactly.
Empire.
Empire subverted the expectations of I wouldn't say, even if you didn't like it as much, at least they didn't completely change characters' initial progression from one movie to the next. This one just felt like such a blindside and disjointed completely from how we known Luke. And at the end of Force Awakens,
off it,
Luke,
dude. Sorry, guys.
What they did with Luke in this movie is my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
Well, okay, fine. That's your subjective.
Okay.
Opinion.
Yes, also, I'm just going to say a subjective opinion. We also have the opinion, right, of the actor himself, Mark Hamill, specifically stating how he didn't like what they did with Luke's
Okay, that's fine, and
trickiness.
that's his decision.
That's a
to not
character
like
who's
that.
played Luke. I know, I'm just saying, it's everyone's opinions, but if an actor verbally states how he's not happy with it, when he's meant to be promoting the movie and giving it good praise and everything, and he clearly was not happy with it, that just shows that there's an added layer to it than just,
To me, it just makes me a bit sad.
It is sad.
He seems sad
he
about
wanted to play.
because he's just as much a fan.
Everyone wants
else.
to play the invincible.
No,
He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He just said that wouldn't be the. He said that wouldn't be the way
Mark,
Luke would deal with this.
Mark is just as much a fan as everyone else, and I think he was disappointed with Mark Hamill.
Oh, Mark Hamill. I thought you talked about Ben and your brother for a second.
The Mark Hamill himself is such a fan of Star Wars, like the rest of the community, that I think he was a bit disappointed with how it was written.
I think I don't have an issue with Luke. I actually think it's a different sort of story that we're getting for a character who's kind of hasn't really had not any troubles, but hasn't had a complicated. You gotta let me finish.
I'm waiting.
Hasn't had a complicated, not essence. I'm trying to think of the word, but basically, he's struggled with Vader's his father. That's fine.
He came to terms with it. That's good.
Yeah. So that's pretty troubling.
That was gonna say that's one of the most.
His aunt and uncle, died. That's fine. Even though I didn't show emotion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yoda died. Obi-Wan
lost his
died.
hand.
Yeah. Okay. All that. That's fine. So he's been troubled. Maybe I'm looking for the wrong word.
More than Rey. Yeah.
But in terms of what happens to Luke in this movie, you got to think he is, as much as we know, the Last Jedi. He is the last living Jedi of an entire race that's lived for thousands of generations. He has been entrusted by generations past to rebuild a new Jedi Order. Exactly. The responsibility of doing that by himself. And he's there. He's doing it. But then, one single instance, he can see it. He feels he can act to stop it. And obviously it goes away really quickly. But I don't blame him at all. Losing everything that he's worked so hard to build, that he's been entrusted by so many people, to lose it just to feel so ashamed, feel so guilty. I don't blame him for going in this direction. I think it's a good way to take the character, because he's been, from what we know from Return of the Jedi and even in the comics, he's been pretty stale, maybe is the word.
Stale,
yeah.
You're calling him stale.
I'm saying his story, and we even get more of that in Rise of Skywalker, when he was out searching for the ship or the knife or the dagger. I can't remember Rise of Skywalker, but going with Lando. I mean, that's a basic journey. Why not put him in his own isolated environment, feeling really crap about everything he's done?
He went around to collect Jedi artifacts and find out that as well. Stuff. I'm just trying to say, when you said when you go back to the split second where he was thinking about ending Kylo Ren as a teenager, he is Luke Skywalker. This is what my sentence I'm going to start.
Biggest issue.
Yeah, Mark can back me up here. I'm just going to say one sentence with this, and then and that's it, right? Luke Skywalker, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's heads, is the embodiment of hope. No matter how bad the times is, he had everything against him in the original trilogy, but he still thought that he could turn the most evil person in the galaxy, aside from Emperor, back to the light. Yeah. And instead of trying to help a conflicted boy whose history of Darth and everything, just be instantaneously thinking that, the best way to do this is just ignite the lightsaber instead of having a conversation with him and focusing on improving who he is. It's just appalling.
I feel like it's out of, personally, and I know, again, this is my opinion, and Cooper will disagree, as will many others, that I think it's out of character for Luke to get to that point that he would actually be willing to murder, because I think he would do the same he did with Vader and redeem them to the light.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's older now.
Them to the light.
He had so much. Yeah, like he's gonna say that. He almost murdered Vader too. But that was when he was such a young Jedi. Now he's a master. He is at the point of his life where he should be the wise, kind of Yoda-esque person, right?
The issue I have, guys.
You see
him as such a perfect character that doesn't have any.
We don't see him as perfect. He wouldn't. We're saying
he should be wise.
No, we're saying it wouldn't get to the point that he would be willing to murder someone in cold blood. That's our issue.
It's out of character, and it's not something he would do. Nothing has ever said in any form of media that Luke would even resort to murder like that. He didn't even he helped an Imperial officer even in the Battlefront 2 campaign. Like he's the most humble. He's a legend within the galaxy. Like people don't even know if he like actually exists. Like even he didn't realize he's the embodiment of spirit. Yeah, he is perfect. Like perfect in terms of being hopeful, not in terms of making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. We all know this, but that mistake is murder. That's like Anakin Skywalker mistake level, and that was way different circumstances and everything. I can't believe that is something Rian Johnson was like, oh yeah, let's have this guy almost murder his nephew. Even a split second. I know you said
in the middle of the night in cold blood.
You can see in the movie. It's not even a second. It's like half a second.
He even said himself, he thought about, even for a split second, I was gonna, that is unreal. That is not what he would do.
I think so.
No, maybe a younger, naive.
I reckon the Empire rise. He knows the damage that can be done.
Exactly. He knows that they're not as powerful if you have hope.
That Luke. I think that Luke would have, with his experience that he's had, especially with Vader, when he was at that point where he was about to kill his father, and then that's when he realized he wasn't going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Why would he rehash it?
I don't think it would happen again, because I think he would know from his own experience that he shouldn't do that, and that it doesn't need to happen.
I just think if universally a lot of people don't like how that Rian Johnson took a lot of these characters in these movies, there must be an overlooting like reason for it. You know what I mean? Like, I respect that you think it's good that he has some struggle and everything. I do respect that, but I just think they could have done it in a completely different way. Can you agree?
Yes.
Mark too? Like, have him maybe like, obviously as it was, color and destroy the temple. Like, maybe that's even fine, right? That's fine if you turn it. But why did it have to have that whole bit with him in like that was a turning point for Kylo? You know what I mean? That feels so
that's the bit
ridiculous.
that created Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that feels so ridiculous.
But why? That feels
I feel
normal.
like it was more manipulation behind the scenes, like it was in the comics with Snoke being in kind of in his head already.
He was in this movie.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Being like kind of it goes like Luke can't sense it and he kind of gets blindsided. Like he doesn't, like he doesn't actually read his mind and see that. You know what I mean? And having that led, it could be more of a thing where it's like, oh, Luke goes, oh, I felt like it was on my fault because I didn't see it happening. Why did it have to be him seeing it happen and then just resort to almost that? You know what I mean?
I feel like that is a good decision to make Luke the creator, and that's another thing that we can add to Luke conscious that he's the one that created Kylo Ren. He's the one that. And yes, it is his fault that he tried to kill him, obviously.
I think that was the main factor, probably, and you can't blame Kylo Ren for going evil after that, you know what I mean? Like, I would probably too, if I saw, Luke Skywalker, who's been framed as this perfect, I get the movie, what it's trying to say. I just don't understand why this was the main, way they went with it. It could have been so many other ways where it wouldn't have made.
But see, I don't see those other ways. Every other way I see is, he's that perfect Jedi who's invincible.
No.
I think that might be the issue because you're not seeing any other perspectives.
If you can't see him as that, then you only see him as a hopeless.
No. I look at him from Return of the Jedi onwards, and I think that is.
He's not even perfect in that either. He's not perfect at that time, and I think that shows that. We know he was a whiny guy, you know what I mean? Like his progression was becoming to that Luke that we would know and love kind of as today as someone who is, I know everyone has different opinions about what they want Luke to become, but I think he was not perfect in those movies. But then that was a turning point for where he became kind of the legend of Luke Skywalker, you know what I mean? So why would he instantly just switch? I want to go murder my nephew now, because I don't have any hope.
Switch because he senses the darkness.
Exactly, but he shouldn't be scared of it. He's battled way worse than that. You know what I mean?
It's because he's scared that it's in his nephew. It's someone so close to him.
He should have known that from when he took him up when it's the descendant of Darth Vader.
Maybe the fact that they're so close means that he feels like he should feel like he can talk, get some sense into him, and not resort to the violence.
Mm-hmm. Violence would be the last resort I think he would go to. And that's all I'm saying.
I think like what Luke said in the movie, I think Kylo's head was already turned, even though that's not really true.
That's because he's been in conflict. Yeah. You can see throughout all the sequels, he's been in conflict.
He's never been fully, if anyone, it would be Darth that would be fully irredeemable, because he looks he does so much bad stuff.
Hope with Darth Vader, then there's hope easily hope with Kylo Ren. We see so many times throughout just The Force Awakens and Last Jedi that he's conflicted inside.
Yeah. I think, I don't know about you guys, but I think we talked a lot about Luke.
Yeah.
I reckon you should pose us with your new perspective on something that you thoroughly
Let's
enjoy.
talk about Finn and Rose.
Oh.
We don't have to go into Canto Bight, but I want to talk
Canto Bight will be its own section.
Yeah, okay, alright, fine.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I know a lot of people rag on Rose as a character.
Mhm.
I think it got so bad that the Rise of Skywalker, JJ was just like, yeah, you take a seat over on the sideline, you know.
Mhm.
Which is sad because I think Kelly Marie Tran's a great actress, and I think that Rose is actually a pretty
It is
compelling
very
character.
good acting, that's for sure.
I don't agree with your compelling character though.
But
there was
okay.
nothing in that movie where I was like, oh yeah, I want to know more about this Rose.
Okay, so it's
character.
not like compelling in the sense that you want to cheer for them and be like, oh yeah, that's Rose, that's epic what you just did.
She was like forced into it for no reason almost.
No,
She's just an engineer.
Because the thing is, Finn, here's the thing, right? Finn is almost like the character that goes through, I would say, behind Luke, goes through the most development in this movie. Maybe tied with Poe. I'll get into Finn in a bit, but he's already had interactions with Rey and Poe in the first movie. You can't do it again, especially since Poe's, doing his own thing, Rey's doing her own thing. You need someone new to come in, someone with a different perspective, someone who's seen the war in the galaxy from a different side, a different way, and train Finn or show Finn what it's like. And that's what I mean when we get to Canto Bight. Finn doesn't know anything. And
yeah, true, but I don't see why you can't have Poe and Finn together again, because Poe would also be much more of a higher qualified person to go to a planet which is so crime riddled, right?
We'll get to Canto Bight.
No, I know, but you mentioned it a little bit, so I'm gonna put a little bit in, right? So, and why would you? And because I know, but then you say, oh, we've already had a bit of them in the first one. These are the three main characters. What you're saying in original trilogy? Oh, yeah, we've already seen a bit of Leia and Han. We don't need more Leia and Han. Don't worry about that. Let's just add a new character.
I'm not saying that.
That's just practically what he's saying, though.
No, I'm not saying that. And to be
You
quite
don't need
honest,
Rose. You don't need her. That's the issue.
But okay, that's fine. You might not need her, but you don't need to have the three heroes together every single second of the day.
They haven't even been together for until the last one. That's almost the issue.
Now we meet each other.
They only meet each other at the end of this one, Rey and
No, I'm talking about Han, Luke, Leia. They're always together, except for like when Luke goes off for training.
I love it.
Yeah, but not just saying we don't. You guys talking about these movies are too similar to the sequel.
But that's not being. But no, there's certain tropes that you relate Star Wars with, and that's having your main protagonist be together. It's just
you don't have to have that, and I think that that's fine that you don't have that, and almost.
And then it comes to Last Jedi if you don't have it.
Huh?
That's what happens if you don't have your three main characters. It becomes the Last Jedi, and that's the issue.
Nothing wrong with having another character in there that is showing Finn a different way to view things. He hasn't seen the galaxy from the perspective of these people on this planet, or from the people who work in the lower levels of the Resistance. It's like he's getting the full. He's been in the First Order for so long, and he's still struggling. He still wants to run away. But he learned in Force Awakens that he's got the ability to fight and that he should. This one, he learns he can't keep running away. He can't be selfish and look after only his friends.
I think that was the last one where he actually made that decision.
But this one
is more just him going for Rey. That's his motive.
Yeah, I know.
He wants Rey to be safe.
But in this one, he learns that, he's got the. No, I know what I'm trying to say. I'm just at it for. He's he learns to sacrifice because he sees that it's bigger than himself. He's seen it on Canto Bight. He knows that this galaxy is bigger than just the Resistance. He's seen the Broom Boy and the Fathiers or whatever. He's seen that, and this is like he's sacrificing for more than Resistance now. When he's flying towards that cannon on Craig, he's thinking, this is for Rey, this is for the Resistance, yeah, but this is also for the rest of the galaxy who have been oppressed by the First Order.
This is good.
This is what Rose teaches him. This is the galaxy that
sacrifices would have been very good for those reasons.
That's what I'm saying, but it didn't happen. But the thing is, it's more, Mark and I were saying it throughout a lot of when we were watching it together today, and I'm sure you know what we're going to say about, but You know how we kept saying, how is Rose qualified to do it? She was literally sent in the fight.
I'm just more confused about how she knows so much stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's just an engineer on a rebel ship.
I don't know. You don't know
But
her backstory.
how would she know like that Cantor Biter's full of arms deals that support both sides?
I don't know. Maybe she works on some of the ships. She's a mechanic, right?
Yeah,
or an engineer. So,
but that wouldn't let you know about.
Yeah,
exactly.
She gets a report from when the ship's coming.
That's a bit of a you never know. But I'm speaking more primarily on why would you send Rose with Finn? Like, I know maybe it's good, like you said, to have a character that's different from it, but I think having her character be who she is as in a Star Wars thing, like an engineer, it makes zero sense that she would be anywhere qualified to go with Finn. At least Finn has been. I know you said he's a janitor and stuff, but at least he's been in a First Order kind of community in terms of knowing like how it is to do missions and stuff. She also on Crate, she's sent in those ships, in those whatever you want to call them, skimmer type things. There's probably other resistance people who are more qualified to be in a fighting situation. She's never shown to have any actual.
Okay, I won't disagree with you on that. I think it was just literally playing the hero.
Exactly, it's useless.
But I disagree with you about Rose going on the mission. There's a very specific reason she's going. She's the only one who can shut down the hyperspeed track.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that bit. I'm talking about the Canto Bite bit.
Yeah, but how on
the code breaker to get the code breaker?
Yeah, I know, but still. So in that case, they're not going to go get the code breaker, go back to the Resistance, get on the ship. They're going to go straight to the ship.
We'll say I agree with that.
Forced for the plot, then. In other words, so in other words, she just went there for that. No, but for that for her to be on the ship.
Yes.
That was it.
She went to Canto Bite.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense, but then I still don't like it, you know what I mean? Because Canto Bite wouldn't make any sense for that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It doesn't. She doesn't need to be like they're trying to make Ryan was trying to add another character just because he wanted to add another character, right?
What was
he didn't have to
he loves his character. Ryan Johnson loves his character.
Rose stunning Finn when he could have just said he was going on an important mission?
Because she was being reactive and
but why I'm more concerned or confused about why Finn, I nearly said Flynn. Why Finn didn't? Why did Finn not give a proper like explanation? He basically made it out that
he wasn't expecting, I think, to have pushback.
Well, he was going on a mission though, so that's all he had to say. But instead, he kind of started and made it look like he was a deserter.
But also, I just find it funny when they went into the. I know you said small ships they can't track, but I just find it so funny how it would almost work if they just loaded those ships and just did them singly at a time, like not all at once, and they would all eventually get down. Because the only reason I know because you said DJ, what another useless character.
Well, you overheard.
I know you overheard. Plan. But like even still, if they still did it all at once, they would have seen it, right? They're not that blind. But if they did it one at a time and they apparently couldn't see Rose and Finn get on that thing, so maybe they could have just done it one at a time and boom, plot done, no one dies, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that doesn't make a very good story, does it?
Exactly, but the story's already pretty bad, so I wouldn't say it would affect anything.
Again, that's the subjectiveness of this debate. It's like you think the plots. I just saw your notes. You think the plot's slow and not very engaging.
I think I was feeling bored because I wrote down, there's no feeling of stakes when the movie's just them running out of fuel slowly but surely on there. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, how is this movie going to end? I didn't care.
The stakes are what's happening inside. There's a battle for command. Leia's not there anymore.
I was about to say, one of the only parts of this movie that really got me excited was when Poe staged a mutiny.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
That's the only. It was almost like conflict within themselves. The First Order felt like useless in this movie, in my opinion. Apart from when they got to Crate, they did not really look like a threat because apparently those couldn't keep up to it. Why couldn't they just speed up to them? Huh?
Because the Holdo ship went boom, right?
No, I'm talking about before that. Why couldn't they catch them? They were destroying their frigates on the end. Oh, to speed a little bit more and destroy they've already destroyed their command ship.
They said they're big ships. They're not going to be able to move at the speed of light without light speed.
That is so dumb. And once again, lazy writing. It's I can't wrap my head around it because it's just it doesn't make sense. In a Star Wars franchise, you know what I mean? Like, you can excuse so many lazy plots, but at least they're a bit more engaging. This one, I didn't have any care about if the Resistance were going to make it out of the thing. I was more hoping that the First Order would just obliterate them because it's so appalling how, useless they are right now, the Resistance. Like, I can't see that Resistance and be like, yeah, these guys are going to be the ones to save out, you know what I mean? At least the Rebels had a good, in Empire, they kind of escaped pretty well, right? You know what I mean? And they didn't. Well, obviously there was no hyper speed tracking.
Really involved in it.
That's what I'm saying, but it focused more on the side plot of trying to take out the Empire without the rebels. You know what I mean? And I guess you could say, oh, it's good to have a bit more rebel action, and I agree with that. But I'm sick of seeing just the rebels almost as just people on a ship. You know what I mean? Every time we see the rebels, almost it's always just them, doing something on their main command ship. Like even in the original trilogies and stuff, I want to see more of the Scarif kind of, like 20 people facing an army of, because they're hope.
To be fair,
this movie didn't give me hope. I didn't feel like even at the end where Luke's like, oh, and I will not be the last Jedi, and the resistance is only beginning, or whatever the words were. I wasn't like, oh yeah, let's go. I was more just like, oh wow, this is really how it's going to end. I was like, this is not hopeful. I'm still thinking that the First Order is going to destroy this fleet because they look so useless.
Okay.
And I feel like they have a lot more people than by the last one. So unless there was how much was the time jump between this one and the next one?
1 year.
So they must have got a lot more people, because I felt like there's a lot more resistance, especially when they started jumping on with the horse. I mean, the horses they got from the Endor planet. Remember the
horses?
Remember those space horses in the next one? In the next one,
they're right on
the
the Endor
planet. Yeah. And they got those
See.
other people. So I guess they did end up, but that's why. I won't go into it next week, but that's why I thought the next one was actually not as bad in terms of the plot was just as bad, because he tried to backtrack, almost backpedal, and just try. It was so bad. It was a cut mess, but at least it showed that the resistance was getting around the galaxy, kind of on like banding together. I felt like even when they came at the end with Poe in the last one, I felt like a bit of let's you got some resistance, you got some people fighting for the cause. This one just felt like it was just a constant slow burner of just nothing. It was a filler. It felt really fillery. Like it just didn't feel like there was a beginning, middle, and end. It just felt like one whole plot.
I disagree.
Do you agree with one kind of thing?
Like I didn't realize that was one of the, I feel like, the longest 2.5 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest. I was pretty bored.
Yeah. And
that's really sad.
I find that interesting though, because the last few times I've watched it, I haven't been that bored. I'm not sure why that is.
I've watched The Last Jedi maybe 3 to 4 times. And each time I watch it, the more and more I don't like it. And I think I can't explain why, but I think maybe it's because of how it really stems down to them not continuing on from the first one. Even if you don't like the first one, even if you do like the first one, I think that the reason why these movies are so hated, I guess, that's a strong word, or not liked upon that much, is because there's no linear structure from the 7, 8, and 9. So the 9 is left because J.J. Abrams did the first 7 one, so he wants to go back to those kind of his ideas that he started with that weren't destroyed by Ryan in the middle. So it becomes like 3 individual movies that are meant to connect, but it doesn't feel like it flows.
That's still, like, I still just can't even understand why in the world they didn't like plan the 3 things together, the 3 films. Because it goes all over the place, and that's why I think there's such a negative reception to them. Like, I can't say it in any other way that I just don't understand from even a filmmaking perspective why they wouldn't have collaborated.
Yeah, I think primarily Ryan Johnson. Yeah, I think they both have egos. Yes. I think Ryan and JJ did have their own kind of egos, and I don't know if you can agree with that, Cooper.
Which got in the way of the fans.
Exactly.
Which the whole point. If they want to make money, which obviously they do, they need to collaborate, make movies that they know people will like.
I can't believe Ryan Johnson basically said stuff you to all your Snoke theories.
Yeah.
Like how? Why would you do that? Why would you do that, man? And it just makes the Star Wars community already more divided than it already is.
No. I don't think Ryan Johnson said stuff to you. I felt it was J.J. Abrams that said it by basically going, he's been Palpatine this whole time.
Well, the Palpatine thing came 2 weeks before they started filming.
Just
he just tried to get fan service in.
I didn't want to bring this up.
That doesn't even. It's not even fan service because it just
no one wanted it. Yeah, no one wanted it.
It destroys the entire.
Just because the character's dead doesn't mean you can't not explore their backstory. So J.J. Abrams could have done it because it's happened in a lot of media. Like, I don't want to bring this up because I know it's a Star Wars channel, but Harry Potter does it really well with Dumbledore. Dumbledore dies in the 6th book, and in the 7th book, pretty much like 1/3 of it, or maybe even half of it, is dedicated to figuring out who he was, who his family was, what his motivations were.
But
so you can do it.
Yes, you can do it. But my issue is that they just said Palpatine has somehow returned. And
but that's an episode 9. That's a J.J. Abrams issue.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's the collaboration.
The directors should have had to, like, even if JJ wanted to do his own thing, he had to accept what Ryan unfortunately did with this movie, and even if you like it, he had to just follow on with it. And I think that's where it stemmed from the main issues, because it felt very rushed. The next one, but I'll go into it next week, guys. But I think okay. So I've read this quote from some random person online saying The Last Jedi is worse in his opinion because he said he was angry watching The Last Jedi, but in The Rise of Skywalker he was laughing and he thought it was funny. In my opinion, that's my one too. I thought if you turn off your brain, I can't turn off my brain watching this one because it's so dragged. In my opinion, the pacing's not there. The action isn't even that exciting. I wasn't engaged. The next one, I was at least enjoying the visuals. The action scenes were fun, and Kylo Ren, in my opinion, who should have been the main character in this one, had better scenes, right? And I thought it was a bit more of an entertaining watch, even though it was absolutely ruined, like from the start, basically. Like it was honestly just as bad as Last Jedi in terms of like plot and like how things come together, but I had more fun watching Rise. And I hope you guys can see maybe the enjoyment of the next one if you just don't think of it as being a logical way of him getting back and ruining Anakin's whole sacrifice as Darth in number 6. But if you excuse that, I thought it was more fun. But I think we should get back on track with Last Jedi. Any more controversial takes you got?
What do you make of the Force connections between
Okay,
Rey
I was
Rey
gonna.
and Kylo?
That's one of the things I wanted to speak about was the Force powers, and yeah, well, I was going to mention Rise of Skywalker too, but I'll wait until next week.
We can't mention that one, yeah.
But I just don't like the concept, like that they can see each other, they can touch each other, talk to each other through the Force.
It's like a phone.
Like I can get how they came up with it, and I guess in some way, yes, sure, you could say it makes sense because the Force is a very mysterious thing, but I just personally don't think it. I don't like it, and I mean, if you think, I was saying this while we were watching it. If that was such a thing, then, for example, the Jedi Council, who always held their meetings via hologram, couldn't they have just essentially met up through the Force?
But I think that's what the next one tries to do to. I know we're not talking about the next one, but it goes, they're a dyad in the Force, which means they're like two of like the same kind of connection.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why the Jedi Council didn't do it, because they're not connected in the Force, whatever it is. It's just, once again, another thing Ryan Johnson added for no reason. And he's adding stuff at this point just because he thinks it's cool, even though it doesn't make sense.
I think that Luke using it as well is similarly just bad.
Yeah.
Like, we spoke about it before, so I don't really need to go over it again, but I just think it would have even had more emotion and been more personal if Luke actually went there.
Yeah, 100%. It just would have made more sense for Luke's character, I think. But once again, I guess if you like Luke's character.
While we're on the topic of this Force connection thing, and I'm pretty sure at least one, if not both of you, might disagree with this, but I also don't like how Rey and Ben Solo kind of start to like each other.
That's in the next one. You can talk about it.
Yeah, but they do, because like when they shake hands or whatever they're doing, and then when Ben says, "Join me, please," and all that.
I think
I don't think that's a liking.
I don't mean like in the way you mean.
He's trying to.
I mean like as in they start to become friendly towards each other.
Well, I think he's doing that deliberately so then he can get her on his side. Even if you like, for example, like even the Emperor was being kind of nice to like Luke and stuff at first. You know what I mean? Like, and even Darth, like he manipulated Anakin being like a friend. You don't just go in there and be like, "I'm evil, you want to be on my team," kind of thing. Like that's just not going to happen. Of course, he's going to try and connect with her and make up, I guess, those lies and whatever to her to try and convince her to join. I mean, I think that's fair enough. Like, I know whether you don't like it or not in the next one, but about like the romantic side, I guess, of it. But I guess when you're in that Force kind of died, I don't see how I don't look at it being unrealistic. I just think once again, the directors are just adding stuff for the sake of it. That's what annoys me.
All the humor with those scenes as well.
Marvel movies, man, it's affecting it 100%. Disney likes to add comedy. That's not. It feels forced. And I mentioned this. The original trilogy has comedic moments, but they don't feel forced. They feel more natural, like a conversation when Leia like calls him, and then Han goes, "Laugh it up, fuzzball." Like it just feels funny and true to the characters. But some of the lines in this film is just not it. And I know he can link it back to the prequel saying, "Oh, Jar Jar Binks has some pretty horrendous lines," but Star Wars does have bad humor, but this humor feels Disney-fied, if that makes sense.
I agree with that.
Like Marvel. It felt like I was watching a Marvel movie, but just with different, like just with Star Wars characters, you know what I mean, in terms of that.
I didn't think it was that funny. I thought it was actually it had a very dark tone, this movie.
Really? Even when Luke hits Rey's hand with the, "Oh, I can feel the Force. Oh no, it's Leaf."
There were so many,
so lame.
little jokes throughout the film that I don't know how you couldn't gather that.
I honestly,
There
to the
was so
viewers,
many of them.
to the viewers listening and watching to this right now, Cooper, Mark, and I have talked about this movie for years, and even when we first started this, we've always mentioned Last Jedi, and I can still never understand how Cooper can say this is a top 3 movie.
Okay,
because it's honestly is honestly the bottom of my list.
Okay,
it's so bad, so bad.
Okay, my turn for like 5 minutes with the microphone.
Sure.
Right?
Time to snooze.
Alright,
kidding.
I'm going to tell you
Take it in.
why this is a top 3 movie for me.
Go.
All right,
And this is, again, very subjective.
of course.
I absolutely love character development. You can introduce characters and you can put them through a story. Yeah, what the hell?
I'm listening.
You can put them through a story like they did in The Force Awakens, and that's fine. What they do after in Attack of the Clones, in Empire, in this movie, how they develop these characters, make them more compelling, add different layers to them. That's what I really am drawn to.
Of course.
You see that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
but
why are you complaining?
This one doesn't feel like it's good
But
character.
see, I do. Because you get that with Finn, you get it with Luke, especially.
See,
you get it with Poe. Poe's like kind of he's learning to become, well, no, not really learning. He learns the hard way to become a more
disciplined soldier,
mature. Well, yeah, disciplined soldier. Yeah, I guess you could say. So
see, I think that is where our biggest difference is in the whole Luke thing, because you think it's good and we think it's bad, and that's basically what drives our opinions.
I think it's how the director he didn't do what he didn't do anything abnormal with how he did the film and stuff in terms of character development and stuff. Like, he did what he thought he liked, I think, but I don't think he really thought about how it would be received in a way. Because it feels like I know you like it and stuff, but like he did have character development. He did have a start, middle, and end. He did have an overall theme. He did have an overall everything, but it's just so shockingly not what we thought it would have been. And I guess, and that's why people said, "Oh, it's good." That's why. But I'm like, but Empire did it. But Empire felt so good with it. This one didn't. I didn't know. I know you like the character developments about this one. I love character development. I watch so many movies, and I always mention I overanalyze everything, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I just can't fathom an argument to support the character development in this. It feels so
you don't
forced.
have to support a character development.
I don't. I'm just trying to say this character development is not good in my opinion. I think
again, that's where
opinionated.
difference in opinions come from.
That's what I'm saying. Because like you say, you love character development, and then we all do, and that's probably why we don't like it as much. We don't like this character.
I don't think a conclusion can be come to in this scenario, because again, with all the Star Wars fan base, like us three here, it simply comes to whether you agree, disagree, like, or don't like certain things. And in this case, Luke is the biggest division. And
we did say before going into this, it's hard to debate a topic when everything is subjective.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong.
Like what Cooper's saying is not bad or anything. It's just we just can't see it, and we just
that's
don't.
How
believe
I feel
it.
about you guys.
Yeah.
I see your critiques in this movie. I can see them on the screen. I get it, but I don't understand it, because to me they are fine. Yeah, Luke's character is pretty good in this movie. Yeah, Canto Bight, it might not lead to anything, but I think it looks pretty good. It introduces a new part of the galaxy. That's pretty cool.
Okay. Now that you've mentioned, can we go on to Canto Bight for a little bit?
Well, I still want to talk about.
Okay, well, I understand what you're saying. I just think it's unnecessary in terms of plot and in terms of subplots. This subplot was atrocious in this movie. Going to Canto Bight felt so unnecessary for you.
I thought we weren't going to.
I know. I am. I'm just quickly saying something. For a code breaker, which is usually a droid's thing to do, they just change stuff like that. The minor stuff that kind of is just annoying.
That is true. Why couldn't BB-8 have just?
I was gonna say they do everything in these movies, but for some reason now they can't. I don't understand. And all they did was do like a little. He put those little things in the thing and put something into the computer. That's not hard. It's not hard to do.
What were we gonna say?
I was gonna say, and I know this is a big dog on the originals, but I think
no.
No.
It's gonna hurt. Yeah.
And it's hard because Empire does it pretty well, actually. I really like movies that look good. CGI, I know CGI's. That's why I don't really like how the prequels look, because it's pretty crap CGI. These movies just they invite you into the world, and it makes you feel like you're a part of it. and just the way things look, even the sound design. I want to mention the sound design. This is the best sound design of any movie. I think just the little things. I don't dislike the plot, but it's not a standout. But the small things, like character development, the way it looks, the sound design, all these little things that make a movie great is what I see in this movie. And that's why I feel like you guys are just dogging on the main thing too much.
It's funny, everything you just said in that sentence was wrong.
No,
Because
you can't.
how? No, because no.
I just want to say one thing.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'm ready.
I just want to reference to what Cooper said about they draw you in. So the visuals and the sound you're saying is what draw you in, and the character development.
Yeah.
But you see, and I know again this is very subjective sort of thing. For me, I was not drawn in simply because of the story and the plot.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys are looking at
that's what I'm saying. Because
I know what Mark's
if I may continue to provide an example, because I know surprisingly quite a few people that think the Lord of the Rings are kind of boring. See, what draws me into them is the story, but there are others who think that the story is too slow or too drawn out, and then there aren't enough aspects to keep them in the film.
Well, yeah. See, in my opinion, for that, I love visual effects and I love it when they're done right. I love the look of movies, but it does not carry a movie for me. I can't look at this movie and go, it is beautiful, but I don't care because it's not a main thing about Star Wars. I'm not watching Star Wars movies for visuals, to be honest. If you're being realistic here, I'm there because I like the characters, I like the story, and I like the universe it's in.
And
that's why the original trilogy is better than these ones too. I don't care if they don't look as good because it feels better and it feels more like what I want to watch in a Star Wars movie.
70s and 80s film visuals.
No, how am I contradicting myself? The visuals are good for their
70s and 80s, but the story and the characters and stuff are what keeps.
And I'm also saying I love sound design, right? And the sound design in every Star Wars movie has been good too. You think about even the prequel movies with when in Phantom Menace, when the droids are coming out of their whatever you call them, like the Federation in Naboo. That sounded so cool. The music in those movies was so good.
Okay.
And I was gonna say, like, it's almost like what you just said there was like, oh, that's why you're excusing mediocre plot because of the visuals and stuff. But I'm like, is that really what carries a movie for you? The visuals and sound design when it's always been pretty good in Star Wars?
When you think of Star Wars, what is the first thing you think when you think of Star Wars? Don't even just think about
Jedi.
Jedi. Yep. Go. You're too late.
Too late.
So my thing is, you think about the Jedi. You think about ships. You think about lightsabers.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've got to look good. It
looks good for their time, though. That's what I'm saying. I know it's not a story, right? But I'm saying that's okay. So even if the visuals look horrendous, right, in the New Hope, whatever, the lightsabers and everything, that still looks good in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because it's different. I don't look at Rey's how she this is Kylo Ren's lightsaber, for example. Kylo Ren's lightsaber looks cool. I love his lightsaber, but just because it looks good, I'm not going to be like, yeah, this excuses for everything else. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying it has to excuse for everything.
I'm just saying I don't think it carries a movie to be that good.
I think a perfect example of this is when we're watching the film and the Falcon starts going through the crystallized cave area.
It looks good.
And it does look good. And Cooper and Jack were saying, or Cooper was saying that something about how the visuals make up for the film or something, and Jack said, really, you think just the visuals of the scene make up for the rest of the movie?
I said
just happened.
I did. He mixed it around. Oh. I said just because this one scene or particular scenes in a movie looks good or is good, it doesn't make the whole movie in itself good. Right. And you were like, yeah, but the little ones make up. But in my opinion,
did I say that?
No, I think something.
You said something very similar.
Yeah, along the lines of it. I can't quote real life. I don't have a memory bank like that good. But I understand, but what you're saying. But the way you kind of worded it, I think, made it sound like, oh, those are the three things you look out for, right, in a Star Wars film. Which the plot, I think, is the main one that I hold to a higher esteem. But the visuals and sound design have never actually been what I hold to being a good Star Wars movie, if you know what I mean. They've always been good in my opinion, even for their time when they came out. Like, obviously, it's going to get better with the money and everything, and they have so much resources. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it during the movie. I was like, oh, imagine if these sequel movies had the visual effects of A New Hope and stuff. It would be horrendous because
there's no
the plot is meant to be carrying it, and the plot and the story and the characters aren't as good as the other one.
I feel like we might have got lost in translation because I'm not saying that the only things I look for are sound design,
Okay,
visuals, and
obviously
that.
not. Yeah.
Obviously, there's a story
Mhm.
that you need to follow, you need to be engaged in. But I'm just saying, there's these extra things that take it up a level.
I don't think visuals take up a level for
But-
me.
Okay,
I think that's
for
not
you.
what. Yeah, maybe in a lot of other movies, but for Star Wars in particular, I think maybe because I was so used to watching pretty bad visual effects and stuff for Star Wars movies that's never affected my viewing and perspective of the movies. You know what I mean? Like maybe if I watch like other movies nowadays, like like how you watch like superhero movies nowadays, and sometimes the visual effects look pretty bad.
Yeah.
But then I critique that in particular because a lot of the other movies back long ago for the superhero franchise or whatever look good. So that's what I'm trying to say. But for Star
Like the
Wars,
original Superman movies as
Yeah.
opposed to the Justice League.
yeah, well, even no, I'm thinking more Iron Man when he suits up there, and then when he suits up in Endgame and stuff, it's like nanotech. I don't think that looks good visually. You know what I mean? But I still think that Infinity War is a better movie. So it doesn't carry. I think visual effects sometimes can differ between back and forth, and I actually love the way the prequels look. In my opinion, I kind of like the green screen, blue screen effect, but then I like a bit of the sequel stuff. You know what I mean? It's like with ships and how it flies and how it looks. But then I don't like the way that almost the lightsabers. You know how whose lightsaber is it? What do you call it now? The one that Rey uses is Anakin still.
Technically,
Anakin,
well,
Luke, same thing.
They sell it at Disneyland called Ray's Lightsaber.
But that's the orange
that's
one. technically.
Disneyland, so
Anyway,
you have to do it like
But the way it looks in this film, almost it looks too perfect, the lightsaber. You know what I mean? That's why I like Kylo's, because it looks a bit more not like it looks too like perfectly round and kind of there's no like little errors in how it looks, and it almost looks fake, in my opinion, because it looks too perfect. Can you kind of understand what I'm saying?
but I don't agree.
Like even in Obi-Wan's show with the baseball bat. Oh, I always mention the baseball bat. But it doesn't, it looks too, the lightsabers in that show looked weird to me because I'm not used to seeing it look like that. You know what I mean? And I don't like the way that it looks with the modern visual effects. So in some instances, I prefer the older ones. You know what I mean? So like, I know you said you love it in this film, and I think it does in times look so much better than everything else, but it doesn't mean I would put it anywhere near the top of my list because of the visuals and
But
sound.
again, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it elevates.
Elevates, yeah. But I don't, in short, I just don't see how it can elevate something like that. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about Canto Bite now? Because you've kind of been holding in stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I want to hear your opinion on it first because you haven't really.
All right. I'll just say my quick thing because it's hardly anything. Is that I personally don't think I've ever had an issue with it.
Fair enough.
I just want to hear the two different opinions here.
The thing is, like, I wouldn't have an issue with it if the overall story. You know what I mean? It's only because in this movie, and I don't like the movie as a whole. It doesn't make sense for it. I'll explain later. Just go for it.
So, I think, and this is again the things I like. I think Canto Bite looks fantastic.
Yeah, but
I think it's got a different sort of vibe to something we're used to.
It's Coruscant, a bit of the rich.
Yeah, the upper levels definitely, but it almost feels like its own secluded kind of environment. And Canto Bite is a city, not like the planet. And I'm sure there's different parts of the planet. And Canto Bite is just the rich part of Cancer Monica, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I do like the vibe. I think it's something different. We haven't really. I mean, we see it a little bit in the Andor show,
but you also see Cantina in the original.
Yeah, but that's different because
that's a bunch of smugglers.
Yeah, it is, but it's not rich. This is like they're all dressed in nice clothes and they've got drinks and they're playing their pokies and whatever. It's just that kind of vibe is something we haven't. And it's so almost storytelling sense. It's very fascinating to see not the duality, the difference between one side you've got this scrappy looking resistance trying their best to just survive, and then you've got these people who are dressed in their best dresses and tuxes and whatever, not giving a care about anything in the world, just throwing their money away like it doesn't matter. You've got like they just don't care, and it's cool to see people who do care in that environment. Even you see Finn, he's like, oh, I love this place. Because, it's away from the life that he's known. It's away from the Stormtrooper life. It's away from the Resistance life. It's something completely different. And I think that that's quite interesting in terms of the storytelling sense.
And I think that you described it very well, and I'm on board with what you've said.
It's funny how you say that, though, because everything you just said about that then is about... No, it's about Canto Bite, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm never going to get this out. The plot of Canto Bite, the subplot of it is a waste of time, which is what I'm trying to say. I don't think we need that because we don't need a master code breaker. We didn't need all these plot conveniences to happen. Like the planet, the city itself, I'm not disagreeing with you. It looks beautiful and everything. I just think it wasn't necessary for what it was required for, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I didn't feel like, and the horse racing kind of thing and the abuse of the animals and stuff, I get it and everything, but I just don't see why it was needed in this particular film. The subplot usually in a lot of Star Wars films are actually quite interesting.
Okay.
Like pick up Broom Boy.
And this is my thing with Canto Bight in terms of its importance to the story.
Relevance to it.
I think as much as serving as a basis for Finn and Rose to grow as characters, in terms of its relevance to the story, finding the codebreaker, it's a subplot okay, let me just say this first. Yoda teaches Luke the main theme of reminds him of the main theme of this movie, which is failure. Not every mission, not every sub-mission has to work.
I didn't say that's not what I
know, but just okay, so going to Canto Bight, yeah, they got to find a codebreaker, it doesn't work. And yes, DJ's the codebreaker. Like,
how cool
they probably got. I reckon he was a spy from the get go. He didn't care about them at all. Yeah, he might have turned it over, but he returned them in for a reward instead. That's smart. That's just smart. And always says, don't join the Empire or don't join the First Order, don't join the Resistance because they're all the same in the eyes of everyone. But
he's just like the deals on Canto Bight and will get the money from either side. Doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the Canto Bight place itself is bad. I just don't see it. I feel like you could have, if you wanted to develop their connection and find a code breaker. I think the whole code breaker thing really triggers me. I think because it's not usually an issue for the other movies. Why all of a sudden we need like a specialized hacker?
I don't know,
to get into this ship, which is just as like powerful as the ships.
I do agree. If R2 can hack into the Death Star,
yeah,
I'm sure BB-8 can hack into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't seem necessary and it seems forced, and that's why I don't think it's good. And I get bored by it because I don't have any connection to it.
Look,
and I don't want to see any
I don't remember it specifically, but Rose does give an explanation of why they need a codebreaker.
Yeah, but it'll be some lazy written probably thing anyway for it. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like, oh, Snoke ship has these special defenses. I'm like, nah, come on.
Has a firewall.
Yeah, like what? Like it's never been an issue in the other Star Wars movie. Why now is it being one of the main subplots for them to do? They could have done something else, and it probably would have been better. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it doesn't. And also, Canto Bight just gives me the vibe that the directors and the costume design team just want to flex what they could have done. It just seems like there's different things everywhere. And I guess you could say that happened in the other movies, but this just feels elevated to the brim.
But see, I disagree with you because, you could do any sort of environment. This is one we haven't seen before. Maybe it's Ryan Johnson's chance. Yeah, that's good.
No, but I can just go out into the city and see that if I wanted to. It doesn't feel like in the galaxy far, far away, in my opinion.
I don't have any issue with it seeming real.
Yeah.
No, I don't see how that can be an issue personally.
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't make me feel like Star Wars-esque, you know what I mean?
Mark, I'm pulling you across to my side. Keep coming, coming.
Hold up. Luke is always going to keep us apart.
I just think it was an unnecessary subplot.
I just don't know how...
Yeah, there's no issues with it.
Good effects can be something that draws it back.
Good effects.
You said it looks too real.
Yeah.
No, I didn't talk about the effects of it. I'm not saying... Yeah, I'm just saying... I just... Like, the Tatooine cantina does not feel like a place I could go visit in real life. This does, and I don't like that. I want to be something that I've never seen before.
Where are you referring to?
The cantina. And
Canto Bight?
No, like the casino bit.
Yeah.
It's just... Yeah, I'm just saying, I want something to be more fictionalized.
I thought you were referring to when they were on the First Order destroyer thing.
No.
But still... I feel like it's pretty Star Wars-y version of a casino.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like I could have probably, it doesn't help my imagination grow in terms of, unique planets or unique places. It wouldn't be in my top list of a unique place, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And I like even Hoth or even Tatooine, it's just a plain desert planet, but it looks not real, you know what I mean? And it looks like something I can fictionalize. This looks like any other, rich place or city in the world kind of thing, just with floating stuff and a bit different sort
aliens
of. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, and I don't really like that. It doesn't intrigue me. When I watch it, I'm just a bit bored.
Okay,
and that's just my opinion on it.
Yep. All right. Do you want to talk about the Holdo maneuver?
Yeah.
Holdo.
Holdo.
What about just Holdo?
Holdo in general.
This is some of the best visual effects I've seen in Star
We
Wars.
can agree on how it looked.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks fantastic. The plausibility of it, however, I don't.
Oh man,
Would work.
Well, they say in Rise of Skywalker, one of them's like, "Yeah, we need to pull some Holdo maneuvers."
Like 1 in a million, isn't it? Didn't
Yeah, and he
say?
said, "Yeah, that was like 1 in 1,000,000." So the fact that she got it in the 1 of 1,000,000 times.
It sounds
that's
so
convenient.
Yeah, and then I just think, like, understand why she did it. I appreciate that her character was did sacrifice herself for the greater cause, which at first you wouldn't assume she would have, before you saw that she was friends with Blair and it was all part of the plan kind of thing. I just think, aside from the visual standpoint of it, it just didn't make much sense. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, so we do get something similar in Rogue One. Similar when no.
Which part?
The A-wing, I think he's going to mention.
No. So it's the bit where the rebellion's starting to retreat, and then Vader's ship comes in straight from light speed and rams into a couple ships. Obviously,
that's more
bigger,
realistic, yeah.
But it's almost that sense of a ship coming to a full, having impact.
This one just felt like a lightning bolt through him. You know what I mean? Didn't.
Yeah, it is different, but it in terms of the plausibility, it's definitely possible.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah.
But I feel like the direction and like the aiming of the ship, it has to be like pretty.
Have to be like, yeah. I don't know.
I liked it. I thought it looked good. I just don't know. Now that I think about the plausibility, yeah, it's probably possible.
The visuals were great. Everything else.
The movie has good visuals.
Holdo, I think Holdo in general, would we all three say we didn't really enjoy the character?
Oh, let me go to my notes. Hang on.
Okay.
I
think I understand why she's in it, and I understand her character motives, and I understand as an audience you're not meant to really like her until after. But I just thought,
even then,
she just felt very, I don't know, very tedious kind of. It felt like a roadblock that wouldn't be necessary if she just was open a bit.
Okay. Well,
and I understand, you thought it was good that she withheld the information.
Yep.
But I just think if she didn't, then it would have made for an easier, more non-needed, what's the word again? Non-needed,
that's the thing though.
Non-needed,
clash.
Yeah, inner conflict.
Yeah.
Were they preparing for an evacuation during the time that Poe was not aware of what was happening?
I think they were just transferring the fuel at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then he saw it on the screen.
You saw the fuel getting transferred.
So, first of all, I don't really like Laura Dern. I'm sorry to all the Laura Dern fans out there.
Yeah, a lot of movies she's in is very unlikely.
I think she's a very tacky actress. She's actually a lovely person.
She's good in Jurassic Park.
She's been in some good things. A lot of big projects. Like you were saying, Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Marriage Story.
Yep.
Won awards. Yeah.
Yep. I guess thought she was a bit of a cheesy character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I've said it long enough. May the force be with you always. That seemed like a fan moment.
It was a bit cringe.
Yeah, I don't know. The way she says some stuff is a bit. I can see why Poe gets angry or got angry. You know what I mean? I relate to Poe in terms of that situational thing. But I mean, that's maybe good acting then. Her.
In terms of the plan, not telling Poe the plan, I think that's the right thing to do in that situation. Simply because what's Poe done for the Resistance?
I think as a commander, yes, I guess it makes sense.
But also, I think if Poe's character, though, I would have assumed if he wasn't told the information, which he kind of did do a mutiny, but I was trying to say, he probably would do something irrational. But if he knew the plan, he might have tried to help make it more safer.
I guess that's not,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Poe might have not had that reaction,
I know, but it just depends on what would have happened with the script. But that's what I'm saying. In my opinion, I would have thought Poe would have done something irrational without knowing it, and that makes it more risky for the crew. And in a conflict occurs, if he knew the thing, I reckon maybe it might have been different.
What I don't get is why the two hated each other so much, and then she says at the end, "I like him."
I think it's because she kind of knew. I think it's kind of insinuated that Leia warned Holdo about the type of character he is, and she was playing along with the kind of game of pretending not to like him, but actually does, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think that's why. But I think we can go on to the.
Oh, you want to go to the end?
Because we've kind of actually, how we said we weren't going to do it chronologically and all that kind of thing. We kind of almost have been chronological. Oh, we haven't really talked about. Oh, but that we kind of universally kind of liked it though. The throne room fight.
Oh,
aside
yeah, that
from
was
the-
awesome.
Aside from the
Choreography.
choreography at the
It's
start,
okay.
it was okay. After the main shot of all them coming in, it was good. I liked Adam Driver. Obviously, is a fine actor. He was really good with his delivery of the let go kind of line, and I think
Let the past
Oh,
die.
that was so no, the bit where he's like, oh
you're
yes,
still
but
holding
he's like,
on. Let
no,
go.
you're still holding on. Let go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I think that's not another issue. I mean, I thought you won't agree with this. I don't know. You probably won't agree with this either, Mark. But I thought Rey in this film didn't contribute that much, to be honest. She kind of felt a bit sidelined after I watched it again.
I think I'd agree.
She honestly didn't do too much, wasn't it? I felt
No.
like Finn and Rose
She was just
almost
annoying
did
Luke the whole time.
Yeah, I felt like Luke. She was only a device for Luke to do that thing at the end, and she didn't feel like I didn't feel like she get much training. Aside from that, I feel like it was almost
So do you think Rey's a subplot?
yeah, almost like
While
she.
we're on-
Now that I rewatched it, I thought she had a lot of screen time. She did have a lot of screen time, but I thought she
Obviously.
had a massive impact. It gave me the Indiana Jones 1 kind of vibe where even if he wasn't there, it would have almost happened the same. Like because Luke still would. I mean, he wouldn't have done that. It's more just it's more. Rey's main plot in this almost felt like it was just to get Luke to do that one last bit at the end. You know what I mean? Because Kylo Ren almost did everything himself. Almost anyway, killed Snoke, kind of disbanded and his own inner thing. He is now the leader like he wanted to be. He still made his irrational decisions even without that. So I don't know. I reckon she almost just was I don't know.
Plot device for Luke.
Yeah, plot device for Luke.
Okay.
I don't really.
While
think
we're
she
on
did
the
that
topic
much.
of Rey, and before we get further on in the story, what are we thinking of the cave scene, if you want to call it that? We
I
haven't
liked
spoken about it.
I
I
liked
kind
it.
of mentioned it briefly. I think visually it was pretty cool.
The reveal.
However, I do not like how Ryan didn't give a proper answer to why,
Yeah.
who
I
her
feel like
parents
they
were.
were building up for that scene to be really important.
I thought that was going to be the main story, but
especially
yeah,
with Cooper with character development.
to
I
be
feel like this
fair,
could have been a
really
big,
good change
To be
from
fair,
changing
to be
point
fair,
for
to be
Rey.
fair. It's a dark side cave, and she confides in Kylo after it happened. So it's probably showing her false illusions anyway. So it wasn't really going to show her
didn't know about what it was.
Yeah, it was just leading right.
When you say she confided in Kylo Ren,
She did.
I know she did, and that's what I was saying before about liking each other, like getting along.
Oh
with
yeah,
each
okay,
other.
that's fair.
Like with the Force connections, like why wouldn't she have gone to Luke? Why did she go to
Luke
Ben?
was
Luke
closed
didn't
off,
want
yeah,
him
he was-
going down.
And he was closed off to helping Rey any other way.
Ben, why would you go to Kylo Ren?
Because I don't know, because she thinks that
He's
he has
tortured
good in him.
her. It's almost like
He
she's
didn't torture
going.
her.
Yeah,
through-
that's true.
When
It's
did he
almost
torture her?
Yeah,
It's
well,
almost like she's experiencing Stockholm syndrome, like, instead of like
No, I
being
think he-
physically confined,
he
she's
thinks-
mentally
But
confined by
he
Kylo
thinks
Ren.
he can be turned.
Yeah, I know.
He
But
literally said there's still Ben Solo in it. So I think she's more doing what Luke would have done back when he was younger, which I actually don't hate that much, to be honest, even though I'm not a big fan of Rey, I think, I don't know. I think that you have a big hatred for that Rey and Ben, Kylo Ren kind of stuff.
it just
I don't really have a big hatred for that, to be honest.
I didn't like it.
Oh, well, okay, there we go.
Wow.
Wow, Cooper didn't like something.
Wait, you mean in this movie or?
I'm not talking about the diet. I'm just talking about like how Rey went to Kylo. I kind of understood why she was doing
Well,
that.
I think they're similar characters in a sense. I think
They're both conflicted in their own ways.
Yeah.
They both haven't really had a proper mentor, I guess,
No.
because Han and Leia kind of just ditched Kylo
Quite literally.
with Luke, and I feel that was primarily maybe the reason, because they weren't really parental figures for him, and he needed that kind of support.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was an interesting plot that once again was the decision of Ryan to make. So interesting enough.
I just quickly before we move on to Craig,
Yeah.
I want to praise Ryan Johnson for what he did with this movie, and also for getting through the backlash, because there's people like the two to the left of me, to the right on the screen, but that have just given him so much crap about the decisions he made in this movie, and he stuck by them, and he said he wouldn't change it if he had another chance.
I think that's ego more than
No, I think he genuinely
because
meant
he's made good movies. I love Knives Out. I analyzed the daylights out
obviously,
of it, but
we don't think he should have got any of the negative, like the death
reaction
rate and all of that.
I just think he almost
we
didn't
just-
want to continue with what JJ set
I
up.
just think
because,
that what he did with Star Wars, and especially with the sequels, and by not contributing that is, I think, what our biggest issue is.
You can have creative freedom in directing and how you want to go with a story, but just completely changing what was set up feels a bit. He almost backtracked on what JJ set up, and then JJ backtracked. But it's just two directors not having the same. You don't need to have the same vision because the original trilogy didn't have old George. Actually, was that different guy? I forgot his name.
George knew the story and he wrote them all.
Yeah, so
that's the difference.
You can execute your own beliefs and what you want to add to it. You could even you could even to an extent do what he already did with Luke, but still continue with kind of what was set up beforehand. You know, it just felt like he just completely went off the rails with it, and that's what annoys me.
Exactly.
Even if you liked what he did with it, I felt
like the physical manifestation of it going off the rails was the very beginning when he threw his last statement.
Yeah, it was like, oh, they're just gonna not make this a serious moment kind of thing, and then change his whole idea of what we thought Luke was gonna be. You know,
like what you were saying at the start, this movie does subvert expectations quite a bit. I think Rian Johnson does a good job of that, and he does that very well in cinema overall.
But I don't think it was the right thing in this franchise for it to do.
I think it was coming off of episode 7, which was, I'll admit, it was similar to A New Hope. This is different. Yeah, it's got plot similarities to Empire, but it does so many things different that are like quite different and unique in the whole Star Wars landscape.
Yeah, but I feel like even 1, 2, and 3, which was all done by George, that each one of them felt a bit different in their own way, but also still kind of flowed to the main story.
Introduce anything that was like groundbreaking.
Really? I mean, seeing the whole Jedi Council in full flourish, the Clone Wars. If you don't,
the Senate.
Yeah, we literally didn't see it. Like it was.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Compared to 4, 5, and 6, that is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But because we grew up in the time of the sequels and we watched 1 to 6 kind of at the same sort of time of our lives, kind of it kind of merges into one whole thing. But that was a major, like that was so different from what they already knew. I just thought they had an overall. They knew from number 1, and they knew what they were going to go with number 3.
Yeah,
creative freedom in the middle.
Okay.
If you knew what you were going to do in 7 and knew how it was going to end in 9, and do whatever you want in the middle to get to those points, at least it would have been one story kind of throughout, with the directors having their own takes in it. I think that would have been all right. Even if I didn't like if they ended up doing what they did with Luke like this, at least if they had a proper finale and a proper start and they knew what they were going to do with it, and they got to the point of the end, I would have been fine with it. Okay. I'd have been content with it. Yeah. I wouldn't be as annoyed as I am now. You know what I mean?
Well, yes. I can tell.
If Luke didn't die and then he had his opportunity
in the next... die. Like, I wouldn't mind if they kill off these characters, if they just had in my opinion, more of a, contributing to the overall theme, the overall plot of the 7 to 9.
If he didn't die, at least JJ would have had an opportunity to do something. If he saw the backlash that was received on The Last Jedi,
that's what he was scared about. I think
he could have done something to make the fans happier about it.
Honestly, it's a big mess. From the 8 and 9 together is a big mess. Like, it's just a big mess, and that's what annoys me the most. And Mark, I know, annoys him the most too. Not having a script for each one of them, or even like an idea on what they're going to do for them. Like, how do you not do that? You're trying to end the whole franchise thing with that is unreal. And not even have any basically memory or connection with Anakin, who was made as the main character for the... Like, how unreal... Like, do you think they should have had Anakin in any of these movies? Because it's called the Skywalker Saga?
I think... Okay, this might trigger you guys. So just brace yourselves.
Oh, God.
I think the Skywalker, and this is now that's the thing that's going to trigger you. I think the Skywalker in this whole saga is Luke.
Oh, okay. No, that's not going to trigger me. I agree with that.
That's fine, but not in the whole saga.
No, I agree.
I think
it's the sequence.
The whole saga.
Yeah. Oh, the whole saga. The whole saga.
Well, you're talking about even 1 to 3. How's that to do with Luke?
No.
Well, it's just...
If we're talking about the entire saga, for me, it's the family of the Skywalker. So it starts with Anakin, and then
it goes to Luke, and then sadly it goes into Rey.
Rey gets to become a Skywalker.
But it would have made more sense if it was Kylo, because he's a descendant of a Skywalker.
Even that, yes, but I don't...
Like, she's just taken up a name. He could have taken up that name, but it would have made more sense for him to take up the name, because it was at least his mother's name. You know what I mean?
Because he's a Solo, so I know he is a
took up dad's name for that. But the mum is still a Skywalker.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It would have made more sense for him to take
Skywalker. It just sounds funny.
Yeah, it does sound funny. But Rey didn't, even with her, if we're going to go with what they went with, Palpatine is not even close to a Skywalker. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, oh, no matter how evil your past is and who your parents are, it doesn't define who you are. You can, believe, I get it. I just don't agree with it.
I know we're kind of steering.
Or you don't
course here,
agree,
but I just want
not necessarily with the sentiment, but you don't agree with how it was handled.
Kind of, I guess.
I know we're steering a bit off course, but I just want to say one more thing in terms of the Rey Skywalker thing. I think I mentioned this before on the podcast. I've done a series that takes place after Rise of Skywalker, and I fixed the scene of Rey saying she's a Skywalker, and I feel like this is probably what was implied, like what you were saying before. Skywalker is not anything to do with family or connections. It's to do with legacy. I think that in terms of what Rey is trying to do by taking on that name is
continue the
because
legacy of them.
You know what? Some people might think, they might have seen that Luke died and not known that Rey's Rey's a person or whatever. So they're not hoping out for a Jedi anymore. They're hoping out for a Skywalker.
I know what you mean. And I think that's what they deliberately even went for in number 9. But
that's what they went
because you
for.
can't be like, oh, I'm going to take this name Palpatine and make it into a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if they ever heard that, people will just disregard it.
I can't get on board with.
Yeah, I can't get on board with it, but I understand it.
For me, Skywalker, it's a family name, so it has to stay in the family.
No,
at least a bloodline like Ben Solo. You know what I mean?
Even they have to be related in the same family.
I know. I was just trying to make a case to fix it because I don't think it's done. I don't think it's right.
Okay, all right. Well, at least we agree kind of on that bit, which is nice. But should we continue on to?
All right, let's go to
maybe. I think it's probably going to be the final-ish bit of it.
Yeah, I want to just chat about.
Yeah. Well, that counts as it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. All right, we'll talk about Crate.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? You guys liked it as a planet? Look good.
It looked good.
It looked
but
visually good, but
it's just another empty desert
barren
sort of planet.
It doesn't feel like it's lived in.
So many of them.
So many unlived-in planets. I feel
Tatooine, Hoth,
Crate. Even I can't even think of it now, but there's a few others. But I don't know. I feel like we don't spend enough time on these places to actually know what it's about.
And that's my issue with the next movie.
Yeah, true.
It's literally just planet hopping.
But then again, but then if they're going to go with that, then at least they're going with that in terms of they're not caring about world building at that point. When this one is almost like there's only a few planets, but it doesn't even feel like they're not there long enough.
No, I get that.
At least that one, they're deliberately going through it.
Yeah, I mean, they did at least make the effort to say that the planet was abandoned.
Mm-hmm. So I guess there used to be an old rebel base, whatever it was. That's why they have those things there.
Yeah.
I thought the red, and I know you're going to talk about the sound design for the TIE fighter shooting on the ground made a really cool sound.
A drumming sound.
Cool. I do like the red visuals of it, and it kind of creates a smoke protection for them, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's so handy in Battlefront 2.
100%.
On the Galactic Assault.
I hate playing that map though.
No, that's awesome.
Too many campaigns.
There is. I agree, but
I don't know. I just think it was almost like, I don't know. I guess I just needed a planet for a final thing to happen. It's not like a planet where I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to remember this planet.
I get why they wouldn't have a rebel or resistance or whatever base on an inhabited planet.
Feels kind of.
It's always the same same
style.
Thing.
One little
Yavin 4
door behind a little thing.
That is my issue.
Yavin 4 is, I'm pretty sure, uninhabited, but it's different.
It's a good.
At least it got
cool.
old ruins kind of esque. Hoth had a big thing. This has a big thing.
Just back to
a big thin thing that just has nothing else on the planet. It's just so boring.
Just back to what you said before about the big door. C-3PO says it's the only way in or out. How freaking stupid is that? As a base for a massive
operation.
Yeah. Why would you only have one entrance and exit?
I guess they're trying to think it's probably more safer, but they didn't realize if that thing closes and there's an enemy on the outside, then how are you going to get out?
You're under siege.
Yeah. So I guess they think of it as only we can get the jump on the enemy and also lock ourselves in and attack them from the inside thing. But I guess it won't.
So I guess C-3PO said that to create the intrigue of Luke by having him there.
Yeah, but also I guess even the rocks blocking that entrance. Is this a thing it's not even like a proper entrance. It's just like a hole in the thing.
Yeah.
So
it's just a cave tunnel.
You made that, yeah. It was just back entrance. It feels so forced in there, so they wouldn't die in that place.
Yeah,
almost,
Yeah.
But other than that,
what do you make of the? Oh, sorry, were you going?
Oh no, go. Yeah.
I was going to say, what do you make of the Luke versus First Order?
I don't know if I don't think I've mentioned this on this yet.
No.
I think it would be. Oh, I did say it would be more beneficial if he came himself.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And I definitely think there's someone on YouTube that put music over the fight of that.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah, it just gives it more of a emotional attachment to it.
When Cooper was talking about sound design, I forgot I was going to mention this as well.
Go for it.
You already said it, but I would encourage people to go watch. There's a clip on YouTube where it's the Luke versus Ben fight, and they put what music is it?
Anakin's Dark Deeds.
And it just because we watched, Jack wanted us to watch that clip first, and then
Just
we
to
watched
compare it.
the actual movie clip, and it's so much, it adds so much emotion and tension, which is funny for this movie. Like as I was saying before, I wasn't drawn in, but that music really does draw you in. It's funny.
I think people forget though too how influential music can be for any type of movie.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not ragging on John Williams at all because he's done some amazing themes even in these ones. I think there's just that one.
There was either a lack of music or so
they just had Kylo Ren's theme kind of slowly in the background
that you could hardly hear it.
But also, it's not. That's what I don't understand. That fight is not just Kylo Ren fighting himself, which it kind of is. I get why they did with it, but it's also the kind of the redemption of Luke from the hermit that we see in this movie to helping the resistance kind of thing. So it should have been a theme that kind of represents both sides, kind of personal ideologies and what they're trying to do. So that's why I thought that theme kind of represented both, like Luke sacrificing himself, having that sad kind of music who is connected to Anakin in that way, and then Kylo Ren who's also connected to a Skywalker, having him have his realization that he's been tricked and kind of he's been frauded kind of thing. So I thought it just would have made more sense and kind of entice you more into like, oh, what's about to happen kind of thing. I think music is a big influence on that, and it would have made it more better, much better, because I did enjoy it.
Yeah,
I did enjoy it. I liked it.
I'm not blaming you for that. What do you guys make of "I Saved You, Dummy"?
That was Rose, wasn't it?
Yeah, ruined Finn's. We talked about the scene change. He just ruined Finn's sacrifice.
That is one thing I'll hold against Rose's character. That was a terrible decision.
She just feels like once again just forced into a plot.
I feel like the way she says it and the look on her face. I mean, I know she kind of did a good thing, I guess, by saving someone, but she seems so narcissistic about it. Like, I saved you, dummy. And then Finn's like, what about every single other person in that base that we are in the Resistance here to protect?
Exactly my point.
That's how we win. We'll save what we love, not
we won't fight what we hate.
Fight what we hate or something.
What we love.
Oh, it's so cringe. I get like not good tingles down the back of that one. It's just I don't know why they need to add that in. And once again, I think that was probably almost a deciding factor on people not liking that Rose character because it just changed that whole ending, and it was like, well, that makes no sense. You just put this weird love kiss. Even the kiss wasn't. I know it wasn't a romantic kiss, but it was still like, why?
Yeah,
you don't like when main characters die, but I think almost everyone, myself included, seeing it in the theater, seeing Finn charging into it, and we're like, he's going out
in style,
cause,
and I respected him for it.
And it would have brought his journey to an end.
And then it makes you not like Rose for doing that because it ruined his kind
of plot importance.
But then again, it could have had Finn could have still been something else in the next one.
And yes, I know they still managed to get away and they both survived, but they didn't know at that point about the secret exit.
Yeah, so it's a bit annoying and a bit frustrating. So there's a few the crate as a whole. I think I liked the whole scenes and stuff. There was just a few nitpicks that they could have made it a bit more perfect, in my opinion, to end the movie off on a strong note. Could have been even a good thing for that.
Well, I think, and just moving forward a little bit with the lifting rocks scene, I think that's a pretty symbolic way to end, because lifting rocks is always one of, if not the first lesson in becoming a Jedi, using the Force, lifting rocks. And we didn't really see Rey do that. Like,
she gravitated the rocks.
She did, but she really gets to have her Jedi moment, and I think this is probably the moment where I'm like, okay, Rey's a Jedi now.
I agree with you on that. I don't know.
Just the lack of yes, it's cool, but the lack of training that she hadn't.
We know Luke didn't have
She can lift rocks, but how can she do everything else?
But also, I know we like to say, oh, we didn't have that much training on Dagobah. I get that, right? I can on a way agree with you on that. But at least Luke, when he did his actions, he went to go do something, but then failed a lot of the times. Rey hasn't had any failures in anything. Yeah. He really never failed.
He lost in his fight with Darth Vader on Bespin.
Yeah. And lost his arm, and the people, Han was frozen in carbonite. It was not looking good for him, right? You know what I mean? And then even the only time Rey kind of does fail is when she fights Kylo Ren in the next one. And then even then, because Kylo gets influenced by Leia's death, then she still ends up winning that fight and almost killing him
does,
anyway.
yeah.
So I'm just like, she never loses.
And
Never
that
has struggle. And that's
is
we can't
why
connect to
we
someone that
call
is always
her a Mary Sue.
yeah, like you can't have a perfect character, and you just said that I don't see Luke as a perfect character. I'm like, I don't
That's
either.
how we
But
see
at least
Rey.
Luke had some failure.
I think Rey's issue comes from like her mental state. Not that like she's got anything wrong, but just that inability to get over.
I'm just Rey.
She's just a no one.
Yeah, and she's adamant about that. Like, move on and create your own person.
Yeah,
She does
that's
it in the end, but it takes too long to actually care about it.
Yeah.
Which is why I might actually end up liking the
And-
new Rey thing in the end, because hopefully it has a bit of a time jump and it shows you that she's matured
And
a
it
bit.
has nothing to do with the fact that she just seems to be just great at everything.
Yeah, like it's not good. It's not a good look for the movie. I don't think, in my opinion, having a character that's perfect. You know what I
Well,
mean?
like you said, she kind of blends into the background, even though she has the most screen time.
That's crazy.
So
It's honestly crazy how she does, because she kind of just there. But I guess she's nagging Luke a lot in the first bit of it.
yeah,
So I don't know. I think this movie just has too many negatives for me to like it. I think that's the way I can say it.
Yeah.
jeez.
And I can and I will never understand how you rate this as a top 3 movie.
Okay.
But I'm glad that this discussion wasn't too toxic. I don't
No.
think it was toxic enough,
Yeah,
and it definitely left you triggered a bit, which
yeah,
which I can fairly understand. But the more I think, for me, I reckon the less I watch this movie, the better it is.
well,
So I think I
Yeah.
would not be rewatching it anytime soon.
No,
Okay.
And I'm sorry
neither
about
will I.
And I just wish they could have. I think it's more because of the opportunity they had to do whatever they like, and they did this, which kind of infuriates me.
Okay.
And it's not something I would have wanted. So yeah.
we're gonna move on to scores now.
Yeah.
We've reached the end of our discussion.
Oh,
this will be the last thing we do.
Hope you guys enjoyed this
Be,
podcast.
controversial.
All right, I've given my score,
I
but
can't wait for Cooper to get
yeah, I
triggered.
want you guys to go.
What was my lowest one for now?
Force Awakens.
Which was?
Oh no, sorry, Phantom Menace 5.3.
Okay.
And then Mark, your lowest is
Yeah.
Force Awakens 5.2. Who wants to go first?
No, Jack.
Oh well.
Okay. I am going to give it a solid. This is generous, Cooper. So don't attack me for this one. 4.2.
Okay, that's better than I thought.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Just a bit below average. You know why?
You
Because
think
I
that's
think
bad.
no. Okay,
Just you wait.
hear me out. I would have gone lower. The only reason I didn't is because it's still Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So if it were, you know what I mean? Like, I still love seeing Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
But this
yeah, you are
movie
being generous.
is the worst Star Wars movie in my opinion.
Damn.
But most Star Wars movies are at least on par with average.
Okay.
But this one's below.
Alright.
Okay?
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. Yep.
I'm sorry to Cooper and all the others who like this
Mm.
this film. I'm not holding back. I'm not being generous like
Okay.
Jack.
This is probably what my realistic one would be. So I'm ready for Mark.
I'm giving it a solid 2.2.
I was waiting for it. Yeah, I was waiting for it. I was
No.
I was thinking a 2, to be honest.
2.2.
No way you think it's that bad.
Hey, how many times have I said on this very podcast I don't consider it canon?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
If you're
yeah.
not considering it,
You
Even-
said you gave it that much because you consider it Star Wars. Well, for me, I'm sorry, but I may consider it Star Wars, but I
But
don't
not
consider it
part
Star
of the
Wars
saga.
canon.
Yeah, part of the saga. It's a Legends
I can't
story.
give it even Force Awakens. I can maybe somewhat just say it is. That's why I gave it a passing score.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm sorry, I can't.
And
Yeah.
I hope you guys have
They-
enjoyed.
they destroyed-
haven't given it your one yet. You haven't said.
They destroyed Luke too much for me to give this film any good score.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this bit of discussion, but I can't wait to hear Cooper's rating of this, and it better not be higher than the movie I hold to my heart with a lot.
Okay, so
If
I had
so,
to think
I am walking out.
I had to think about this quite a bit. My main question
Gonna need
was,
some water for this.
Mm.
is this better than The Force Awakens? Yes. Is it better than The Revenge of the Sith?
Oh no!
No way.
No.
Good. Good.
But the thing
Cooper,
is,
thank you.
where
Does it
do I
place?
put it?
Unlike Luke, he's
Because
seen the
I
light.
gave Revenge a 9 and The Force Awakens an 8.9.
Oh.
I would actually probably move Revenge down a little bit. But because I've set my scores, I'm not changing them anymore.
Queen, I guess.
I have gone with an 8.9.
So same.
Same as Force Awakens.
Okay.
I think Revenge is
That is very
just
high.
a little bit better.
But also, we already knew it was a top 3 movie for him.
Mm.
So technically, the way he's going is still top 3.
Empire
Empire, Revenge, and Last Jedi. That's technically
and Rogue One.
But that's but hear me out. You can't change it though now, sadly.
Good
but
point.
technically, it's on the same level as Force, which means it takes the same position.
Yeah, so fourth.
So it's still fourth or third,
Okay.
which is. But also,
Yeah,
as you guys know, we always interchange our
scores,
ratings on the movies on how we're feeling at the time. But for me and Mark, I think The Last Jedi will always be last. But for Cooper, it could range between 3 even to 2 maybe.
I might be stretching, but I think this is a cinematic masterpiece.
That's a strong way of saying it.
No, I'm not handling it.
No,
just how can you call this a cinematic masterpiece?
Because it's different and it takes on a different way of portraying Star Wars.
We're ending this before I lose.
No, look, I just can't handle the word masterpiece and the Last Jedi going.
Oh my gosh, Cooper, that is
I can understand how you can think it's a good movie, but I can't get on board with masterpiece.
I think it's more of a masterpiece than The Force Awakens.
Masterpiece.
No, Force Awakens isn't.
You know what the only Star Wars masterpiece, and I wouldn't even say it's Revenge. I would say it's Empire, because it revolutionized the whole Star Wars movie franchise.
I think there's multiple masterpieces.
It's revolutionized it into the ground.
I think
into dog doo-doo.
No. I think there's multiple masterpieces, and the one I'm thinking of currently is Rogue One.
Yeah, I agree. All the ones I've given high scores are masterpieces.
Oh lordy. I just can't even. Oh no, man! Last Jedi being a masterpiece, masterpiece of being what not to do for a Star Wars movie, maybe.
No.
Oh my lord!
No. A masterclass. It's a masterclass in how to not make a Star Wars.
Exactly, people. So, any of you guys wanting to make movies, do not make it like The Last Jedi. Thank you.
Wow, that's terrible. No, well,
your take is terrible.
You guys can't change my mind, and I will stick by the fact that it's a masterpiece.
And I will not. I'll pretend like I'd never heard of it.
Last Jedi will continue to be non-canon in my head.
Yeah,
well,
and I think
that's such a sad way to end.
And I think on that note, we'll end on a bit of a depressing sort of note.
Yeah.
So on that note, guys,
we thank you very much.
We'll catch you on our final viewing next week too.
Do you guys want to do a ranking of the movies like once we're done?
Well, we already have our
scores. No, we've got our scores.
But the scores,
the
scores are meant to be individual, though. Like we said, the ranking is going to be your final kind of standing. You know what I mean? Because he's got 2 at the same rank. He can't really do that yet. So yeah,
I think last episode of the Rewatch series. Next week.
And then we're moving to Ahsoka very shortly.
Jeez, it's been. How many weeks has that been? 10 weeks?
10 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's interesting.
Good. I've loved watching all the Star Wars movies again. You'd never find time.
So I hope, guys, you haven't turned away yet, and you keep listening to our interesting hot takes as Cooper has enlightened us today. To be fair though, maybe some people out there, I mean, let us know in the comments if you're listening on YouTube and watching on YouTube about.
Don't worry, Jack and I will not harass you for your.
We won't harass you.
We like to hear them.
Unlike a lot of other people, we do appreciate. We actually enjoy being toxic to each other.
We enjoy hearing the different opinions,
even though we can't understand it sometimes. It's just fun to be able to talk to people who do have wildly out there takes and cinematic masterpiece. Quoted forever. But we do actually. Well, the whole reason why we're here is because we do love talking about just Star Wars as a whole. Even if we sometimes sound very sad and not positive about our things, we see. Even me, who doesn't like Last Jedi, I still love to talk bad about it, and that shows how much I love Star Wars. So
we all do.
So we all do, even though it sometimes hurts, but it sometimes makes us happy.
That's it.
So on that note, we'll catch you guys next week.
And
And we always appreciate your support. So we thank you guys a lot for that.
Thank you very much.
So
time to turn the recording off.
See you guys.
No, wrong button.
Where do I do it?
I told you this before. No, where are you going? Where's the? Oh my god.
Stop recording.
Oh my god.